Let's get into what this is. So it's very easy to get, very easy to use. So we're using 5-piece Bone Pirate. Whenever you have a drink active, it's going to give you about 2,000 stam and about 150 stamina recovery. They did nerf that a little bit, but that's fine. The other passives on it are good also, max stam and stam recovery. Then we're going to be using 5-piece Viper. It's going to give you crit stam, and then every 4 seconds it's going to hit for 8k, which that should go up once we're buffed. I'm using 2-piece Selene. Gives me stam, which is going to be more damage, and a 15% chance to hit like a truck. This can occur every 4 seconds. You can switch this out for a few things. The Krog set is pretty decent also, since you're using sword and board, but the proc on it is a little less and the damage is a little less also. But the penetration does kind of make up for it. But I prefer the burstiness of Selene though. If you want to go for hardcore survival, you can go with Troll King. All weapon damage and chance on my jewelry. No recovery. You do not need it with this build. So we're going to do all recovery. You would prefer to have all in-pin, but the RNG gods hate me and they will not give me in-pin pants, no matter what. And anything that I get. So we're running infused. Why not? Gotta look for another helmet too. So main hand, this is where we're different. We're going to do sword and board. It does not matter what your one-handed weapon is, because sword and board, it doesn't discriminate whether it's a dagger, mace, sword, whatever. So use whatever you can get in sharpened, one hand. Your sword, you would prefer to have reinforced, because with your champion tree it's going to increase the armor of this even more, and it's going to stack with the 15% from reinforced. Back bar, you want a 2-hand. Prefer to have a 2-handed sword, but no matter what, you want that to be sharpened, or excuse me, defending. You want that to be defending. Getting into the skills. Surprise attack. Obviously it's big damage. Debuffs the enemy. Invasion, this is your gap closer and your CC. So you're not going to be using fear on this build. So what you can do, you can gap close. They're already knocked down on the ground. Instantly go in for an end cap strike. You do not have to CC them first before you end cap them, because you're going to hit them with this. Unlike with your fear builds, you have to fear them first before you can hit them with an end cap, because otherwise they're going to block or dodge roll back out of you. This way here you can guarantee that hit. Shadow Image, it's a really great way to create distance in between you and the enemy. Once you put it down, start moving away from it so you can go ahead and build the distance. It's also pretty good if you're on top of the wall and you want to go down and do some work, come back up. This is your anti-sork skill, defensive stance. You'll shut down their crystal frags, and when you do that, they don't really have that much damage on you. If you see a meteor coming in, just block it, but besides from that, you can keep reflecting this back at them. Don't take the other one that absorbs the spell, because sometimes it will go through your shields and still hit you for a little. You want to reflect this 100% back at them. Vigor, they did increase the cost, but the heal is still too good to overlook. And obviously in cap strike. Now to show you what I'm looking at buffed right here on these, obviously not that skill. I'm doing just about 10k, and this is without, well, I got an offensive scroll. Is that spell powered? Do I got offensive scroll too? No, I don't. So this is without the physical offensive scroll, and this is without taking a farm or lumber or whatever. So when you get those, you're looking, if you get both of those, you're looking at about 11k on your surprise attack. Back bar, flawless Dawnbreaker only because it boosts your rally, nothing else. Obviously rally, it's going to give you your major brutality, and it's going to heal you pretty good. There we go. So I'm getting 1252 health every 2 seconds. And that's going to go into conjunction with your leeching strikes. You're going to get 1700 health every time you do a light attack. And this build, you will light attack, animation cancel everything you do. Relentless Focus, you're not going to use this except for the 8% damage and 10% stamina recovery. You're not really going to care about the bow unless it procs and they're running from you. Then that would be a good deal for you. Leeching Strikes, touch base on it again. Your light attacks get you for 1700 health, and they give you 100 stamina every second. or every time you hit it, and it's basically every second with a light attack. The stamina return isn't too important, but the health is ridiculous. And then when it ends, you get another 4,200 stamina back at you again. Triggering maneuvers, just because in Top World you want to be fast, but you can also use this yourself because it grants you immunity to snares and removes anything that's on you. Yo, Corey. Then Dark Cloak, just because. Cloak. Buffed up. Buffed up, you're running 2,700 weapon damage. When your rally procs a crit, like I just did, your crit will go up a little bit better. 2,100 recovery. We are running the Warrior Mundus Stone. You don't need the extra recovery because with 2,100 recovery plus your Leeching Strikes, you get enough of that back because you can cast that in between. As far as our champion points, start with Green Tree. These can be moved around a good bit, but the ones that you want to focus on, you want the 23 in the Warlord, you want 43 in the Mooncalf, 43 into Tenacity, 23 into Tumbling. Besides from that, you can really move the rest of those around. I use Siphoner because it's going to aggravate people, and I use Sprinter because sometimes you have to create that line of sight between you and the enemy. On Blue Tree, this is important for you. Master at Arms. You're going to need a lot into this. I did 56 in Master at Arms, 49 in the Mighty. Piercing got a buff, so we're going to be running 52 into that. It's going to give us 4K penetration. And then 13 into Piercing Strikes. I chose to, instead of stacking more in the Piercing Strikes, I chose to go with Shattering Blows because a lot of magic builds are going to be running shields this time up. So you're doing 15% more damage to those people, on top of the fact that you're hitting hard with this and your Mighty added together. So that's going to really help you melt through those Sorc shields. Red Tree is where it really gets interesting for you. So we're going to do 43 in the Hardy and Elemental Defender. That's going to give us 10% reductions on those. 34 in the Thick Skinned, so that way we can stop a lot of the DK builds. We're going to stop the dot coming from the Warden. And then we're going to do 51 in the Ironclad. This is a mandatory. Do 51 above anything else because it's going to reduce your damage that you take from direct damage attacks, which in Cyrodiil, it's everything. That's your surprise attacks, that's your crystal frags, that's your whips, that's everything. So anything that's a single target that you die from, you now resist a shitload of damage on it. So you got 19 and 10, so you're doing 29% reduced damage from that, compared to if you put 100 points into it before, previous patch you're only doing 25. And we did 36 into crit resist. Right now our crit resist is a little low. That's because we still need 2 more pieces of Impen gear. But it's not bad though, we're doing 2200 crit resist. Our defenses, because we're using sword and board, kind of go off the wall. So we're setting at 20,000 as a DPS. So 20,000, about 2,800 weapon damage, 39k stamina, 22k health. You cannot go wrong with this build. You got the offensive pressure with Surprise Attack, Selene, and Viper. You got your recovery with Bone Pirate and Leeching Strikes. And you have your anti-Sorc and anti-Warden with your Reflect. You cannot go wrong with this build. In the past hour, I was at about 350. In the past hour, I went from 350k to 522k Alliance points. And I only took 2 keeps. So that's all I'm doing is just standing outside and murdering people when they come off the wall. If you guys have any questions, comments, feedback, suggestions, whatever, hit me in the comments below. Thank you guys.